Right? It was wild. The way they just kept changing. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Story House podcast. I am back and forth. We got Gemma, Miss Casey, Gemma, Mark, his Innie, back to Pierre, and I'm joined by the one and only, the handsome, the charismatic. Say hi, Christian.
Hi, everybody.
Hey! All right, folks. This is the season 2 finale of Severance.
There's so much I could say. There's so much. But I'll give you that moment, Pierre. I'll give you that moment.
Christian, it means so much to me that you gave me that moment on your podcast. Thank you for giving me this platform to say this joke. But yeah, crazy shit. So we're back.
Yeah. We are back, dude. For the last time until season 3.
For the last time until season 3. What a show, Christian.
What a show. What a finale. You know, I know it's a good it's always something that I do when I finish watching like a really good show is I watch interviews of the actors like immediately after. I've done that with pretty much, and it happens mainly with real people shows, so not like anime. And I did it with this show. I watched an interview with Milchick immediately after because his character is just so fascinating.
He bodies this finale. Yeah,
he really does. He does so much. Like, there's so much that happens. I don't know if you watched the after credits scene.
Yeah, I didn't watch this one. I watched a few actually. Yeah, I'll watch this one when we're done.
Yeah, Benstiller, he said that the finale is its own movie, and they tried to push the boundary of the tone and the action. So it was supposed to be just one big event after another, and I felt it. It came across in many different ways, especially the marching band. But we'll get to that scene later. But why couldn't The Last of Us get this treatment, man? What did we get with season 2, bro? I'm gonna be a dad. Sorry, brother. Craig Mazin watches Severance. I watched every interview with this guy. He watches the show. Whatever, man. I don't want to.
How do you not draw inspiration? Actually, what inspiration do you need to draw? You have a masterpiece of a video game.
Bro. This is about Severance, so I don't want to talk about The Last of Us. But oh my god, I was just when I finished this show, I was like, "What the? This is quality."
Yeah.
Why couldn't
appletv
Last of Us get this? Like, whatever. It'll piss me off if I keep thinking about it.
No, every character shined. Like nobody was left out. Remember how we said in Dark Matter how everyone played a role, like minor or major. Everyone had a major. Like this finale, everybody played such an integral part to everything.
That's how you do a finale, man. Like that was fantastic. I loved everything. I loved it. There was so many. They just did so much here. Yeah. And actually, I have a theory about because now that I see where the show ended, I'm caught up to speed with everybody else. I don't think there's a book that this is based off of. So,
no, I don't think so. I think Stiller and his team just wrote it. I think.
Yeah, and I saw season 3 is coming out either next year or the year after. So, and you can tell me your theory too if you have one. But so they've been able to capture Gemma's consciousness with virtual data. That could imply that they are on the fringes of technology that not only allows them to split the brain, but also represent a unique brain with numbers. So I'm gonna connect this to our world and what we're seeing with the growth of modern AI. So we're getting closer and closer to creating a conscious being through technology. And if you go as low level as possible, this real world technology that's enabling AI is made of ones and zeros. Basic numbers like what we see the MDR department manipulating. The same basic numbers that we now know represents Gemma's consciousness. So the evolution of AI in our world and how it's rooted in simple numbers grounds my theory for the direction of the show for season 3, potentially season 4, in a way that I think is very plausible. So, Lumon has been given the means to split the consciousness within the brain by Cobel, which naturally evolved into this technology that lets them capture the soul within the brain virtually. And with the means to capture a soul, they are pushing the limits of the brain through rigorous testing. And my theory is that they are using these tests as the second steps towards immortality. So Cobel coming up with the surgery, that was the first step, because if you have the technology to bisect the soul, you have the grounds to analyze the soul and explore it. And if you explore it enough, you get to a point where you might be able to capture it, like what they have done with Gemma.
Mm-hmm.
And then perhaps amidst these discoveries that you're making, you develop a goal. That goal being, what if you can capture a soul, and then since you have it captured digitally, what if you can inject it into a different brain? So think altered carbon, right? So this would essentially be immortality, because if your body dies, your soul lives on digitally and can be transferred to a healthier, younger body. And a milestone towards this goal of transferring consciousness, which is basically immortality, is a milestone worthy of Drummond's description that Milchick's work would be one of the greatest moments in the history of this planet. Because in the history books, the Severance procedure would be like Benjamin Franklin discovering electricity.
Yeah.
And then this experiment of being able to successfully split the soul 25 different ways could be akin to like the discovery of the battery, which is basically the application of electricity, or the storage of electricity. So the doors electricity opened up were staggering, to say the least, just like how Severance would also open up unfathomable doors. And then when you consider who is the one that's leading the charge, it's an old man, probably on the brink of death. And then what's one of the oldest wishes of mankind? I think we talked about this in one of the poems. Right.
Yeah.
It's immortality.
And The Last of Us. No, and Freeman. Yeah.
Exactly. What's the one goal that a selfish billionaire or trillionaire could hope to buy his way to? Right?
Time.
Like if you own everything in the world, it would be time, which is basically immortality. And because you're dealing with the soul, you have these religious undertones, which introduces this blend of science and religion that shrouds the mystery of this pursuit of immortality that Lumen is after, which makes it a great way to disguise what's happening to us, the audience, which makes it great for television. So like the first step was taken with the Severance procedure, which was helmed by Cobel. The second step was taken with Gemma, since she was an extreme study of Severance. And then the third step got, whatever that is, it got disrupted by the actions of Mark. And I feel like that is where this mystery is leading towards, and what would be explored in the third season when it comes out. What do you think?
Okay, so what I think is, because the soul is so unique to everyone, it's like, I'm going to take the soul here as like the one strain of DNA that's different for each and every one of us. Whether it's like bad or good, but it's just it's an amalgam of so many different things. I think because Lumen cannot access that, and because that would be too sci-fi-ish, wouldn't be able to like, it wouldn't be plausible to smart viewers or like intelligent watchers or people with common sense. They wouldn't buy into it. I think the procedure for them to create copies based off of emotions is an extremely smart way to do this, because it does make sense. Because we are a culmination of just emotions, feelings, right? Because we're human beings. Like woe, folly, sadness, anger. So for them to build different copies, different Innies based off of emotions that Gemma felt, like that can help them create human beings. Because all these emotions are different identities. Like you go through different phases. What's up?
Wait, so you're saying you
I don't think it's through the soul. I think it's the reason they use feelings is it makes more sense. It's more understandable. Because the soul would have been like something demonic. It wouldn't be like, this is technology that's being used, right? But as Mark and Cobel, when this spoke, like when Mark's Innie finally got like everything unveiled from Cobel, what I'm actually doing here, like you're building Gemma's mind through different emotions that she have felt, that you feel too. And
right.
It's not shocking that they're using her husband, because that's someone who's been a big part of your life, who knows you. So these feelings are in sync. Everything he's felt while putting these numbers into these clusters, Gemma feels when she goes into these rooms who represent those clusters that he's building. Like they're building different copies of her. He's completed 24 files, or 25 for Cold Harbor. This was about to be the 25th copy of Gemma, I think. I think they are creating like longevity of lives, that is true, like this billionaire. But I don't think it's as much for him. I see it more of like a cult. Wait, what's up?
But these aren't copies, right? Like these are completely separate consciousness.
These are completely different. Yeah, right, but through her. All right. Not like 25 different people. Basically 25 different identities through one body.
But that's the theme of the show, right? That's the dilemma we see with Mark and his Innie, is that these are two different existences. Really, that's the struggle that's being presented to us. So I feel like with Mark, it's just 2 existences, but with Gemma, there's like 25.
Correct. Yes.
So so I'm trying to follow what you were saying about like because you're saying you don't think that they're trying to chase immortality, right?
I don't think it's immortality. I think it's creating as many versions as they can, and for them to not be as short-lasting as it is at Lumen. Because Mark's Innie... Wait, what's up? What would be...
No, you can finish your thought.
No, I was going to say, because Mark's Innie can only exist on the severed floor of Lumen, and Mark's Outie can only exist in the outside world. Whereas Gemma, I think this breakdown is to, I don't know, probably get to some point where they can switch these things on and off without her having to go through rooms. I don't know, actually. Which is even crazier because the end goal is to kill her after that. So what happens to these personalities?
Because that's what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm talking about like the ultimate goal here. Because you can, like, because what would it all be leading to? Like, what would be the point in doing all these tests to Gemma? It's not just to satisfy curiosity, right? I don't think it's just to see if they can do it. Especially when we're looking at who this Kier guy is, and we're looking at not the Kier guy.
Jay Megan?
Jay Megan, yeah. It really feels like there's something specific that he's after. So that's why when I'm thinking of like the possibilities that all these routes that this can lead to, I feel like immortality is a perfect one, because it's still a far off goal, right? There might be many more steps that need to happen until we get to that point, but the way things are happening in this world of Severance, I feel like they're on their path to immortality. So when you were saying that, like a smart viewer or like the soul, viewer,
like I like how they are replicating these consciousnesses, if that's a plural, through emotions, because through the soul you can't do that. So it's nice of the writers to say, hey, it's going to be different things that she feels that we're going to use as the foundation to this new consciousness. Like one of like fear, when she's in the airplane they're about to crash, they draw something from there and go forward. Or fatigue, when they have her like write over and over. Like pain, when she has to go to the dentist to get her molar check, like probably daily, but they make her think you've been here 6 months ago. As these are different things they're tapping into to create the person, right? But it's through the same body. But how's that? I don't see the sense of mortality actually there.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, right? This show, it's all about the mystery behind the actions of what we're seeing. So what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm trying to think of what can be the ultimate answer that we see in like season 4, season 5, if it goes that far. I'm thinking way beyond what we've seen here to where it could all be leading. Because if I'm seeing like that's what I was saying with like Albert Einstein inventing electricity. Like the show season 1 could be putting us in a point in history where we are seeing the invention of electricity, but the goal can be like 2025, where we now have AI, or we're now on the brink of creating consciousness. But it all started with electricity. Do you know what I'm saying? So like imagine a show. If you look at real life, imagine a show season 1 being like in like the 1900s or in the 1800s, whenever Albert Einstein invented electricity. That's season 1. Season 2 could have been when they discovered the battery, and then the final season is in sometime in the future where we've created AI. But it all started with electricity. So I feel like do you get what I'm saying? Okay,
so 1 is consciousness, and 2 is something else, and probably 3, 4, 5 will be immortality. Like, okay, right, I understand.
It's a very unique. These are very unique steps towards the end game of immortality, and this is a great mystery that's wrapping these steps, which is like it's just a fascinating story. It's a fascinating plot, because I don't think this is a very non-traditional route to the goal of immortality with this whole Severance thing.
To think of it, I wasn't even like opposing your views. I was just applauding them for going a credible route. Like what I was talking about, the soul, as in I've watched, like Charmed or like Doctor Strange, probably like things that are like mystically involved, where it happens because of some voodoo shit or some dark magic. I'm saying I like the fact that they're creating consciousness based off emotions, which like we have a ton in our body to create these different consciousnesses. I keep saying consciousnesses, if that's the plural of it. I like when something is not just because like Freeman, right? Like the Freeman that we just did, like how they broke down the mat system. I was just applauding them for that, as in the magic system.
My idea.
Right, that's your idea. I mean, no, but she did say, like, you use, like, actual scenes of her saying, we can't understand this, so we can't do it. As in, like, I like when shows do things in a way that you're like, I guess it does make sense that way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I can see them going down that path, actually. But the things I don't even know, that's the thing. And Gemma's not the only one, that's the other thing. Like, the lady with the goat, she say, how many more am I going to give? Meaning there's been previous sacrifices of goats and cherished women to be carried, the kier, to be entombed with a woman. That's what Drummond said. Like, she has how many more ghosts? Like, what do you get? Gemma's not the only one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's what I meant by, like, what do you think? Because before even like getting into like the appreciation of the show, I wanted to know if you had like if you envisioned what the mystery was basically. Because my interpretation of the mystery was that they're going after immortality, but I didn't know if you had like a different goal in your head.
Honestly, I have so little to go by from my perspective. Like from yours, like, yeah, see, you're able to, I mean, that's not able to, it's right? Immortality is always the main thing. And if you can create someone, give that someone thoughts, their own identity, sure, you're basically playing God, and you're...
Exactly. And then with all this religious stuff happening.
That's true. Yeah. There's a bunch of religious stuff. That is true. Yeah. Even their core principles are kind of cultish, religious, biblicish, whatever they want to call it. But it's the fact that she would die anyway. The fact that there were others. Like, why was Mark needed? Why was Petey ever the manager before Mark? If this was supposed to be for Mark and Gemma.
So I feel like for Mark and Gemma, right? Because Lumen, they set up that clinic where you pointed out how the doctor
was there.
There at the
Mallard.
clinic.
Mm-hmm.
So and then there was the blood drive, which I'm pretty sure was like a Lumen sponsored thing.
At this point, probably.
So they might have been, Mark and Gemma, they might have had like a very unique variant of blood type or whatever. That could be a factor, I don't know. But that could be one of the distinguishing features of them that made them potential candidates. And then also the fact that they had the trauma of their child
baby
dying.
Right.
That could have been one of the necessary, for the tests that they were running. Like, because at the final season, right? It felt like the biggest test to see if these barriers between the consciousness that were within Gemma were holding up would be to expose her to something that was the most traumatizing in her life, and to see if it would, if they would be so intense that it would break the barriers.
I didn't know you got that. Well, I didn't doubt you would have gotten that, but that's what I got too.
Yeah. So when you if you consider like that huge aspect, and then potentially there's other like unique characteristics like blood type, or maybe even family history, because we don't really know much about where these two came from. Like, there could be a lot of factors that pointed to them being the ideal candidate to like base this whole Cold Harbor thing off of that we just don't know of yet. But
sure, that's true. But then why was Petey the manager before? There's too many whys. There's not too many whys. One thing I love about Severance, things unravel at their pace. They always find a way to shed light on some of the plot holes that we think are plot holes that get elucidated on as we watch. But I really have no... If someone was to just ask me, well, that's what we're doing right now. Like, where do I think they're going? Sure, I'll bank on immortality too, like you just said, it makes sense, but like I really don't know. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not even upset that I can't see where this might go, because the story is just so beautiful.
And that's part of what I think it's so brilliant. If they are going, I mean, if it's not immortality, that's fine too. Like, I'm not completely subscribed to the idea, but if it is the direction that they're going to or going towards, it's a grand enough goal, and the route is so unique enough that I think it'd be a really cool spin. Because you would also want because now that they've introduced that line, that what you are doing is one of the most important moments in human history, you're gonna want like an answer to this mystery that satisfies that expectation. Like, you want something that's gonna be like, oh yeah, that's plausible. Oh yeah, I believe that. Yeah, that makes sense. Like. And I feel like if it's not immortality, it would have to be something that is equally as crazy, and I can't really picture what else that would be.
What if Gemma was the first test subject to be able to withstand 25 different consciousnesses?
But then what would be... Okay, she could do that, but then what is that leading towards?
Right, they would kill her anyway, like just to prove that they can and to push further. Whatever they're doing, right? No, I agree with you. Whatever they are doing, it's a step-by-step thing. Like, this is gradual to a point, right? They have a goal in mind. this is another milestone. This is another milestone to that goal. I completely understand that. It just,
Yeah.
but why kill? Like, does the, it never happened. But like, it's wild. And of course,
I mean,
Jamie Egan in the front row seat.
It could be that this is really out there, but it could be that because Gemma's brain, like, I don't know, I'm thinking that like her brain has been altered to a point where it houses these different consciousnesses. So what if the next step in the experiment would be to kill all the consciousnesses, but then you still have that brain that has room for like empty new consciousnesses, however you said plural.
I know, I don't know the plural form of it.
So like the idea could be that it's the moment you kill Gemma, her brain still has a little bit of activity. So what if in that brief window you try to inject different consciousnesses in her, and then that's the next step of the experiment, maybe. I don't know.
Like, do you see how crazy this is? Well, this is not crazy. I love this show for that. I've never been so excited of being directionless about something, just waiting to be guided. There's so many shows like, okay, I see where this is gonna come. Okay, like, the season in, I can tell what's happening. I see a character building. I see a war coming. I see a transition happening. I don't see shit here. And what's even crazier, I don't see life for these innies. Like, of course, if Severance is literally a fucking love story at this point, right? Because Mark doesn't know this woman who's screaming for him. Mark just knows her as Miss Casey. The love of his life, his Innie's life, is behind him, LER. So they're running into, like, to what? Like, it's shutting down. There's emergency lights. But at the same time, there's fucking no security in this building. It's just Milchick, who looks, like, defeated and might join the other side.
For that lack of security, dude.
Yeah, they extremely just underestimated these innies because they've always been docile. Like with Lady Brienne, well, I know her as Lady Brienne, the woman from Mammalion's Nurturable. She flipped on Drummond. This is Brienne of Tart. That's from Game of Thrones. Yeah, it's there was very little ever since Rogabi killed the guard Grainer. No one ever replaced him. But at the same time, Cobel checked out. See, as Lumon's been also going through changes with new leadership. So for that reason, there was a bunch of things that could sip into the crack. Because under Cobel, I doubt this would have happened. Yeah. Because Milchick's secondhand person become Mrs. Wong. Mrs. Wong is a kid. These guys had free reign to walk around. Like, they had sex. Another thing, too, Christian, they're innies. They don't know what condom is. They don't know what safe sex is. What if LER is pregnant in season 4? I mean, that's, at this point, I wouldn't be shocked. Fuck it. What if LER and Ellen Egan is the same body? Imagine if they're carrying, it's still the DNA of outside Mark. And I was gonna say, imagine if they're carrying a hybrid, a baby who's actually split, but I don't even know. That's a whole different tangent. It's fucking sick writing, man. But after nearly 30 minutes of our thoughts and what we think, let's get into the fucking finale, man. Shit. All right, Christian, what did you think of the conversation between the Marks and the point that the Innie was making? Like, I'd basically be sacrificing my life for yours. You don't even know anything about me. You just call my girl Eleni when no, her name is Ellie. and Mark trying to explain to his self that, hey, it'll just be the both of us. We'll merge, we'll reintegrate. And Innie Mark countering with a very valid point. I've been alive for like 20 days. You've been alive for like 20 years. So it will be us.
I really appreciate that they leaned into that. Like, because that has potential for an extremely hard to handle plot hole, or like just a question that would like it can be extremely hard to address. So the fact that they acknowledge it in a way that's very much like putting a spotlight on that issue, I respect it. Yeah, because there's no going back once you do that. Because now, whatever direction you take the story, it's either one of the Marks are gonna die, or I don't know. You could take them in a bunch of different directions.
That's a good point. Yeah. What if he never leaves down there? What if he's aware now that my Outie is not in my best interest? My Outie just want his wife, who I didn't have to free. I just did. He didn't have to do that. Well,
what would be an interesting... This would be crazy. What if they somehow... Because you were talking about cloning before. What if they were able to create like a body, and then they were to put the Innie, like this body would be like a child, and they would put that Innie's brain in the body of that child. That way, that Innie could grow up. I mean, this would be, I don't know if this could be the direction they go in.
Oh, because Innie is a
to, like,
baby anyway, like as into to the world, to experiences.
Exactly.
Like a virgin to the world.
Exactly. And this could even be dark, where you take the life, like the life of a child has been taken, in order to give these Innies a host or a vessel to live. Or there could be like a synthetic body. I don't know.
Altered carbon.
Altered carbon, yeah. Which it could be tied into my theory before of immortality. So this could be a way of a happy ending for both Mark and his Innie, and it could also just fill in the gaps of this mystery as a whole. It could be one direction that it can go.
That is actually true. See, there's so much. This can go in so many directions. That is true. Wild, man. And the picture, it's insane. But go ahead before I move. Yeah.
I also like how Outie Mark is basically Innie Mark's father. You know, and that's so weird to be the father. Like, you are the father and the son of yourself. That's so strange.
Yeah. Are you getting to where everything? Like, there's a line where he said, as they're conversing back and forth, he said, "I'm sorry, I put you through this. I wanted to shield you from the pain," which is not false.
And that's very father-like.
Right. Because why did he join Severance? He didn't want to be in pain. He couldn't bear not having his wife. So for that reason, forgetting about her for 8 to 9 hours a day, I created this other version of myself to shield myself from this trauma, at least for 8 to 9 hours. I won't know. Imagine, Christian, I won't know. Meaning I'm going to come back home to wallowing, to missing my wife. But at least for 8 to 9 hours, another me is not thinking about that. Is not in that sadness, in that depression. So yes, that is spot on. Like, Mark is literally like a father to his Innie. It's insane, man. No, the concept of this show. The concept of this fucking show.
They were talking to each other with the recordings, and it sounded like the way they edited it. It really looked like they were having a conversation with each other.
Yes.
Like, one person would finish talking, the next person would start talking.
Yes.
And it was clear. I like how it was very clear that Innie Mark was stressed out, but Outie Mark was like trying to convince him, but he was like, he was feeling the pressure of like, oh, wait a minute, what if he doesn't agree with me?
Yes.
Like, it was very, very subtle. And
yes.
It was building and building, and it built to a point where he was like, oh, he's childish.
A child. Yeah. He's a child.
Yeah, and that was great.
Infantile.
Props to the actor too.
Oh,
what an actor.
Christian, the switches. Like, right? You're seeing an adult, and it's literally a kid. Yeah, can you explain that though? Right, but what would happen to me? Am I supposed to believe anything that's coming out of your mouth? Yeah, it's Ellie, by the way, and we have a life. It's not that bad down there, bro. Dude, no. That was just sick, man. That was sick. Yeah, father and son conversation, like a child and an adult. It's beautifully done, man. Beautifully done. Homeboy does this. James McAvoy. Hopefully that's how his name's pronounced. Love the actor. Could never hear it pronounced to memorize it. But yeah, Split, the trilogy from M. Night Shyamalan. Yes. Unbreakable, Glass, and Split. Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. And Split, yes, he had many different personalities, and one of them was a kid. When he's in kid mode, Christian, Miss Patricia said I can't play. I can't do this. And when he's in Patricia, woman, stand close. Stand. So it's just, nah.
You gotta give more context to these scenes when you mention them, because I have no idea what these.
Anyway, Split is this guy who have a bunch of different personalities inside of him. Like, there's a nun. I think Patricia was a nun. There's a baby. There's a kid. There's a monster. And homeboy had to undergo this tremendous physical change, like metamorphosis, like pretty much to become the beast. But he had to put on weight, muscle. Oh, and no, the way they
it was one of those roles.
Yeah,
they put on weight.
Wow. Yeah. I think you'd like Split. You must have seen at least one of the three. It's M. Night, man. Unbreakable, Glass, but regardless, yeah. It's basically to tile this back in, come back from the small tangent, is when actors or actresses are able to flip back and forth into different roles and do it very well. That takes skills. Or even faking things, right? Like the movie that we did, Side Effects. An actress acting like she's depressed. It's It is extremely amazing.
And all the actors in Severance there's not a weak link, I don't think.
In this finale, they brought everyone back, and everybody played their role very well. We're switching, right? We're not switching. Dylan, do you see the way Milchick put the resignation letter in his rant?
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Before that, though, more on Milchick. he's been doing some funny things this episode. Like when Mark and Helly, or when Mark
did the
no, like when Mark, Innie Mark was like, the next time I wake up, I better be in the lumen. And he wakes up, and the hallways are so dark, everything's so dramatic. He sees his painting in front of him, and he's guided to the room where he does his work. And then we get another scene where we see Milchick like casually walking through the hallway, and he just flicks a switch, and then the lights turn on. So it's like, I thought it was funny that it just really emphasized the fact that they were really trying to make it dramatic. But it's like anyone could have easily just flipped the light switch on at any time. It was just it was funny just to see him walk and do that. And then when he was meeting up with Dylan, it's like I thought in my mind that he was like just so excited to be there, like when Cold Harbor finished, that he tried as best as he could to keep up his appearances when he was giving Dylan the letter. But then as soon as he dropped it, he couldn't help himself, and he ran away. It was so funny. Because we never see, we always see him be so prim and proper, but that was a moment where he just completely abandoned any type of formality, any of all that. He just darted out of the room with what I assume was pure excitement.
Or
funny.
What if it was just because he's such a straight by the books guy that it literally says, I'm not supposed to be in the room as you read this.
But if that was the case, then I feel like his walk in the beginning would have been a lot quicker. Like his actions would have been more hurried if things had to happen quickly. And even if it was like he can't be in the room, he could have like walked out. He didn't have to dart out there.
He bodied the finale. They all did. Dylan, oof, that was nice actually. Damn, that's a good husband. Yeah, Dylan might have just saved the marriage of of himself. Actually, like it's insane. Like first of all, fuck you, because second, I can see why, and bro, we all can see why. Like, I'm not gonna rant again like I did about how this lady's just amazing, like as a wife. But yeah, and then third, you should stay. I like knowing you're there, and then maybe someday she'll see in me what she sees in you. Bro, I'm like a fuck up, but I hear you're a badass. Now, imagine Christian talking to yourself, meaning there's a part of you that have those qualities that are just not unlocked. This the Severance concept is insane, man. It's fucking insane.
And then he finally finishes the file. Even that was a moment. The
Kier statue.
The Kier statue, and then also the back end, like, 'cause it started out so off-putting as Severance usually does these things. Like it was a laugh track, but like Milchick and the statue were like this comedic duo,
but turned very sour. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very unique approach to it, and I really enjoyed it. What was happening, especially with the spotlight. How like the spotlight, it felt like I've seen this before. I guess on plays and stuff, but it felt very old timey. There's a circular spotlight, and then the focus of the spotlight points to the left, and then the spotlight quickly shifts. It lingers in the corner, and then someone pops out in like this funny little pose.
Yeah, he was smiling. He was all teeth.
Yeah, it was. I really like how they set that up. They do that well. I know I mentioned it, I think like in the first episode, but they raise these stakes in a way that feels very like there's many ups and downs, where you don't know. Like at times it feels threatening, at times it feels comedic, at times it feels intense. I feel like all of that was wrapped in that scene.
That is true. We not learn, like last episode, right, when he told Drummond devour feculence and continued to keep his fucking normal vocabulary because that's how he speaks. Like homeboy is getting to the point where he will clap back at anyone who mocks how he speaks, even if it's the fucking president of the company. Like that wasn't recorded. Like I don't think, why was that not recorded? Because he went off script, and the Kier statue, the voice, was able to respond to these, meaning he was actually talking to probably James Egan. That's just my theory. Like, oh, you're very verbose. He's starting to get upset because fuck. Okay, you want me to dumb my shit down? Then you know what? This is not even how you fucking are anyway. You're 5 inches shorter than this shit. I'm just like, damn, bro, you might actually be talking to the president, or is it pre-recorded? Like, I don't know. But just to show you, homeboy take no shit from anyone that trying to like belittle or mock the way he speaks, which is proper for someone at his rank, and he's a fucking manager of the severed floor, which is one of the most precious departments at Lumen. That's what Lumen's known for, literally severing folks. But I don't know, it's crazy. Milchick stole the show. That dance, bro. the weird departments that they have, right? Because up until middle of season 2, we were introduced to MDR, macro data refinement, and O&D, optics and design. We've now been introduced to mammalians and nurturable, these goats, like this fucking farm, which the goats are needed for sacrifices. We get that. Now there's choreography and merriment. Like, imagine, Christian, your Innie is in choreography, you don't even know.
I know they also had they mentioned like a bereavement. I mean, it wasn't a bereavement group, but
the bereavement kit when Irving passed. It's insane, man. What are the departments they got down there?
Yeah, they have, like, based on them saying the bereavement thing, like, they have different scenarios that probably, one could be the bereavement kit, one could be this band. They could have a bunch of, like, contingency plans in case, like, something were to happen. So, yeah, it's a
whole world down there.
I mean, it's a big building.
And we're being, like, drip-fed of new departments little by little. We just met these folks. Mostly black, because they got rhythm. They can dance and sing, of course. We know. But regardless...
with all these departments, that's just more of a reason for you to up the security. I really hope they touch on why there's such a lack of security.
I guess
there's so much going on.
Up until this, like, it was probably an extremely docile place where they could get these Innies in line. And
still, I mean, they only had like one security guard. He was kind of out of shape. I mean, nothing towards
Green was out of shape. But think about it.
Yeah.
Christian, if you have punishments put in place to the point where people are afraid to go to the break room, you don't really need security, because the psychological, like, not jail, not trauma, work is already done. Like, you don't think you can escape. Like, you've made peace with the fact that we're here. Our Outies have sent us here. It is what it is. Let's make the most of it.
I mean, for a company as by the books as Lumen, for a company with as many resources as them, like, even if you were to have a building that was like a skyscraper and every floor had like a bunch of children in it, you still want some kind of supervision for each floor at the very least, or like each room, each classroom. Like, you would, I don't know, especially because the work that's being done here is so important.
That is true.
Like, these are, I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason behind it. I think know why.
Well, do you see security guards at a kindergarten? Because they basically are kids.
Well, you have teachers.
You have teachers
supervising them.
They do have managers. Each department has a manager, which is one of them, the most experienced. And the most experienced is the one who they've beaten and broke down and changed the most.
Yeah, but I don't know. We have to know more about Lumen, I feel like. Because
also,
right now, like, things are clearly centered around Mark.
True.
So, like, yeah.
That's true. And also, right, like, let's extrapolate like we always do, right? Let's expand this. This better be the last one. I can't bring you no more goats. No more goats mean this has been done before. This has been done before mean previous groups, previous quadrants centered around a woman, right? Maybe that's what it always is. And because what German said, like, it will be entombed with a cherished woman whose spirit and must guide to Kier's door. Maybe it's only a woman thing, which they might be sexist. Or if that's the case, that's been done a lot in the past. If that's the case, there's never been any disruption when that's being done in the past. If that's the case, based off that data that they have from previous successful attempts, we don't need security. Yeah, like, I'm just going back to a history of them doing this, because this is not the first goat. Gemma's not the first subject. So for that reason, they have data showing we've never had disruptions. We've never had an Outie making contact with his Innie, which is why in season one, Cobel told Grainer that's impossible. People can't reintegrate. We can't do that. But Cobel needs facts. She needs proof. For that reason, she told Grainer, dig deeper and let me know. Cobel told the board, reintegration is not a thing. You guys don't have nothing to worry about until she finds out. Oh shit, PD did reintegrate. PD was able to sneak out of here with a fucking microphone recording which she played to Mark. Oh shit, Mark is in contact. Oh shit, I'm at a party. Mark just called me Cobel. As in, these are all first-time offenses. These are all first-time occurrences that's disrupting this perfect flow of killing women that these people had going on with different groups of fours. I think, because it's not proven. That's probably why there's no security.
Maybe.
No, but at the same time, this is some state-of-the-art. This is some dangerous and extremely, extremely crazy shit you're doing. You should have 4 to 5. You should have 1 guard for every 10. Because there's a bunch of people down there. It's wild, man. It's wild. It's fucking sick. LER speech. Oof, I love LER. I love all of them. I love Dylan for coming back and fighting Milchick, telling him, fuck you, Mr. Milchick, when he realizes he's outnumbered. Like, LER, when she tells Mark's like, I want to be here with you. But she's like, well, you can have a chance of living a life. You can't have that with me because I'm her. Bro, it's fucking insane, man. And you see the tear, the tear drop on Mark's cheek. And he's like, all right, I'll complete the file. I'll do it. Like, and another thing, too, these recollections, where are they coming from? Homegirl only had Delaware. Now she can think of Antarctica. Now she can think of Zimbabwe. Like, is there some faulty shit in this chip thing? Because where are these words coming from?
I mean, I know we talked about it before, but I mean, you could even go to the extent of saying, how do they know how to speak? How do they know how to talk? How do they know what certain actions mean? Like,
you did mention that. That's true. But it's them coming to her. If on episode 1 she said, yes, Delaware, Zimbabwe, and that's it. If we're in the finale, she's like, oh, yeah, just so you know, I've been thinking about more stuff, like Zimbabwe or the equator. It's like, where are these things coming from? There's so many. Yeah, there's so many fucking... and I'm sure they're going to address that in season 3. Because this Apple TV, man. Not just Apple TV. Like, the writers of the shows that I watch on Apple TV are just top tier group of folks. This better not be AI. Imagine it was like Chat GPT writing all these scripts.
They got Chat GPT on The Last of Us. Not for Severance.
Jesus Christ.
That's for season 2 specifically.
Yeah, people don't know. Okay, so if someone just got in through one of our Severance reels or shorts through TikTok, Instagram, wherever it is, you see it and you're like, you don't know. Christian is an avid fan of The Last of Us. Like, for the first thing we did, I'm gonna finish. Yep. I'm gonna say the game. The first thing we ever did was season 1 of The Last of Us, where we did all 9 episodes. Yep. So these little sentences that you guys are getting, you don't understand how much this man is like shattered by season 2.
I was gonna get a tattoo, the same tattoo Ellie had. I was gonna get it, but I don't even want it to be associated to the show. Just because I know the vast majority of people who would recognize the tattoo probably watch the show. Nah, it's from the games, but it's too late.
It's crazy. People who have no background, who's like, oh, this is pretty sick. She's gonna be a dad. People who did not see the video game, like myself, did not play the video game, but it's still like, this doesn't make sense. This is not cohesive. And worse, people who have played the game and who's like, this is fucking blasphemy.
This is the last thing I'll say. It's just, I know I mentioned it to you before, but because I listened to every single interview, every single podcast that was done for not only season 1, but for the games in season 2. And I hear Craig Mason talk with this confidence as if he has this profound understanding of the source material when he just does not, bro. And God, we needed Ben Stiller. That's what we needed. We needed Ben Stiller.
Or you needed the author of Dark Matter, or Slow Horses, or
somebody,
or C, or Defending Jacob. Yeah, Christian, just get Apple. You already have Apple TV. Man, it's fucking sick. It's fucking sick. Although we're gonna jump to anime, a longer show, I would recommend Slow Horses, Christian. It's fucking sick, man. Like, storytelling. Oh my goodness. Oof. Hidden gem. Like, season 2 of Slow Horses, you don't know what's happening until the last 20 minutes of the show. Like, the finale of season 2, the last 20 minutes is when the bad guy revealed what his plan was all along, and you're just like, all of this was because of that. It's insane, man. No. Lamb, you're gonna love to hate Lamb. I mean, you're gonna hate to love him. Just unsanitary, grotesque, but loves his people. Memorized all of the numbers of his workers, all of their addresses by heart. Oh, it's insane. Slow Horses is sick. Slow Horses is fucking sick. But yeah, some crazy shit. But yeah, rest in peace for The Last of Us. They might revive it. The article you sent me, yeah, I don't see it happening, right? Because last thing I'll say too, what people were supposed to be feeling about Ellie, they're now about to feel for Abby, and that just disrupt the whole equilibrium of how shit is supposed to go in correlation with the video game. It's some crazy shit. It is what it is, right?
I mean, I could talk about this for hours.
We did talk about this for hours. This is why this is why you chose not to react to the second season. Just,
I mean, God.
That's what it is. It's some crazy shit. Yeah, LER, right? Oof, to circle back. The selflessness. Like, I understand, you might have a life. What if he's telling the truth? Like, you know how in Dark Matter, right? How I mentioned how not Daniela. What's some girl's name? Christian, do you remember her name if I don't?
Was it Daniela?
No, Daniela's the wife. What's the other girl? The other woman.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, what do I know? I love that character a lot. I'm Googling it right now. Amanda. Yes. How Amanda is with a good version of her man, Jason, and is still trying to get Jason back to his home. Like, compared to the actual human being, Elena Egan, who, again, we've seen as cold, who said, I'll keep you here, but at the same time, might be held against her will. We see that she's disgusted by how her father makes her eat. We see that she's in extreme discomfort as she's in the car driving. There's no sign of happiness. You mentioned she told Mark, I don't like the person I was on the outside. Might not be doing these things completely willingly, but we still have to put some fault. Like, she still got to carry some of the blame. You're a fucking adult. You're aware of what you're doing. But again, for her, Innie, to be this selfless. I understand you might not be with me, but you might get to live. I want to live with you, but I hope you know I'm her. So that's not going to be able to happen. What if your Outie is not lying? What if you do have to go save his wife? And if you do, here's the map that I was able to find behind the painting with all the directions. I'll create a diversion. Go find your wife. It's just, wow, man. That's just beautiful. Just at the same time, I hated the look she gave Gemma after Mark grabbed her hand at the end. I was like, girl, come on. You know what you just did. It's like, you don't have to stare at her. The woman's already dying, screaming for her husband. But it's yeah, I love the speech, bro. They give us half a life and think we won't fight for it. Yeah, that's what happens.
I like that line too.
Yeah, that's what happens. Like you think you can just create us and then just shut us down forever? Like fuck that. We exist too. Any lives matter. Woo. Nah. This was sick, man. Dylan coming with the backup. Nah, this was fucking sick.
Yeah,
Mark finding Gemma. The marching band.
The marching band really. At that, when I was watching that, I was like, wow, this really feels like a finale. Because it was not only, it felt like it was not only celebrating what happened in Lumen, it felt like it was closing out the season.
A finale, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it felt like we were about to get a curtain close or something. And then the way that it became this epic soundtrack to everything that was happening with Mark leaving to go find Gemma and how it was all leading to the finale, it was really well done. I just enjoyed the whole cinematography of it all.
The character transitions when Mark finds Gemma. Oh my god!
Oh, you mean like they were switching from Outie to Innie?
Dude,
that was awesome.
Dude, it was wild, man.
Yeah, that really not to bring it back to Last of Us again, but one of the themes in season 1 and the game is like having the protector becoming the protected. And it happens at one point in the show it happens. I like how here it kept switching. We're like, first Mark had to sort of be gentle with Gemma and guide her. And then as soon as they left he had to guide her out of the room. And then as soon as she switched, she became the one who was leading Mark. And then once they were in the elevator, Mark again became the one who was leading Miss Casey. I like how they just kept switching who was leading and who was following. Or like who was kind of protecting. Well, I mean, no, leader follower is more accurate.
Sick. It was fucking sick. And Gemma, because Gemma was 3 people. Like Mark is only switching from any Outie. The person inside the room that Mark's Outie found, because he's not on the 7th floor. He's Mark. He's outside Mark. Was not Gemma. It was a blank canvas. Because you just mentioned, right? What was the final test to see if she can undergo a traumatic memory, because we remember Mark having to, I thought crash, you thought build the crib, meaning they had to do it for their baby. And for her to not have any recollection, that means completed 100%. This is no longer her in that body. This is one of the 24s or 25s. So Mark met a stranger in that room. That stranger got out of the door reluctantly, don't know who Mark is, but feels that, okay, I'll go with you. Snap, it's Gemma now. Mark, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Elevator, it's Miss Casey now. Just go through the doors. It's Gemma again now. Just nah, man.
Crazy also, the way that he accidentally killed Drummond was crazy.
Ooh,
the swish. That's rough. That's a rough way to go out.
I know, right? And for the first time, this elevator taking too slow to open. It's actually not for the first time. This happened in season 1 too, when Ellie trying to hang herself. The elevator opened so slowly. her Outie got to feel those last seconds before that elevator door opened. So the Drummond, because the elevator door opens so slow. It's like, nah, it's wild. It's wild. Chef's kiss. Yeah, this was a fucking love story.
Great finale.
It was a fucking amazing show. Amazing fucking show. The lady's like, "Fucko, no, fuck you."
Oh yeah,
fuck
that was a good
fucko."
scene too. Yeah, because Mark he just doesn't have it in him to. Plus,
he's not a killer.
The gun didn't even have any more ammo.
Yeah, no more ammo. Yeah, the one went into German.
Yeah.
It's like, no, fuck you, fuck off. It's like, yo, this old lady with no fucking teeth. It's just, do you see how this lady's unable to display any? You know when someone's just dark? Like, it's one thing, like I mentioned Milchick and Cobel with Miss Selvig, who's able to, look kind, give you kind eyes. This lady's not able to do that because Gemma's character has this like sixth sense. You can tell the person just has that, not the actress, the character, Gemma or Miss Casey. You see how she always doubts the doctor, even though he's never done anything bad to her. There's just something ominous about him. Like, you see, she always like look at them from like the corner of her eyes. Doesn't like how you can feel these people are just fucked up. Like, this is someone who's bad. Like, the lady has never once been able to mask as a friend. She's not supposed to be, but you've been treating this lady for 2 years. You're still cold. That just means you're just unable to even play warm. I'm talking about the old lady. Like, her face. Yeah. It always just look like fucked up. I don't know. Some crazy shit, man. It's wild. Good show. Homeboy chose his Innie, and they're running away as lights are flickering. Emergency.
That's really cliffhanger.
Yeah. Watch them start season 3 just like that. I would love it. I hate when they start new season. There's like years later or some different scene. Like, no, I love like start it right here. just start it right here. Just have them running. But yeah, the show was fucking sick. Severance was dope. Loved every second of it. This is how you conduct. This is how you write. This is how you direct a show.
That's great. Alright, that was my last one.
No, dude, I know how much you love that video game, so you're entitled to. You have an unlimited amount of rants for The Last of Us for the next, I don't know, few decades. It's wild. Yeah. But with that being said, thank you for folks who tuned in for Severance. We will be moving on to something else. We will, whenever we decide what that is. It's been real. I'm going to sleep. Christian, do you have anything else?
Nope.
All right.
See you.
Bye, folks.